In the headlines, traders say insecurity responsible for price hike of tomatoes. Supreme Court frees Senator Nwabushi, quashes his 7 years jail sentence. Father of 25-year-old locked up in Jigawa for 5 years, released on bail. And on the foreign scene, Kenyan police fired tear gas to stop protesters over tax hikes. Welcome to the news update on Trust TV. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. As the price of tomato continues to skyrocket in the market, lack of technology, weather conditions, and the lack of basic knowledge on farming skills, especially by peasant farmers across the country, have been identified as some of the major factors undermining the development of tomato production in Nigeria. However, some farmers in rural communities in Birnin Yaro in Igabi local government area of Kaduna State are attributing high cost of tomatoes in the market to insecurity that has bedeviled their community, which has hindered them from accessing their farms. Trust TV's Bello Musa has a situation report.
Nigerians are said to be consuming 2.3 million tons of tomatoes annually. However, the recent scarcity of the produce made the price of a basket of tomato to skyrocket in the market. Though the price has reduced significantly, yet the price is still high in the Kaduna metropolis, with the basket of UTC sold at 38,000 naira, while acre, as they call it, is still sold at 43,000 naira per basket.
The price of tomatoes skyrocketed because we sold the basket of tomatoes at the rate of 30 to 50,000 naira, depending on the species of the tomato, but it is beginning to come down now.
Is located at the agrarian community of Birnin Yaro, and it is used to be a beehive of activities, with farmers bringing their tomatoes to sell to traders for onward distribution to different parts of the country. However, the scarcity and the cost of the tomatoes makes the market very scanty, and the farmers are attributing it to disease on the farm and insecurity in the area.
We hardly get up to 1 million naira from the tomatoes after spending 2 to 3 million naira in the farm due to diseases during the rainy season. We can't go to farm due to insecurity. We had to abandon our farm and come to this place near the road. But I can't grow much crops here because of the small size of the land.
Omotosho Abiodun is an agronomist in the Department of Agriculture in Kaduna Polytechnic. He says excessive rainfall and diseases are responsible for the scarcity of tomatoes as they affect production.
High-intensity rainfall can abort the flower, cause flower abortion, so there will be no fruit. Tomato required a well-drained soil, and during the rainy season, the soil, they are flooded. Another thing is that during the rainy season, there are so many infestation of fungi diseases. You know, the rot, the wilt, the virus, and all these diseases, they affect it. You know, and the one that I'm particularly interested in is this pest called Avis. Yes, Avis is supposed to be less during the rainy season, but these days there are so many that, you know, and they are carriers of virus.
Omotosho allays the fears of farmers who recorded damages during the rainy season, as he assures that they can produce large tomatoes in the rainy season by using greenhouse technology, which can address the scarcity of the product in the rainy season.
Weeds. There are so many weeds as a result of the water being abundant. Weeds comes up and compete with your tomatoes. So rainy season is not quite a favorable place except you are using the greenhouse, where you can control all these factors. You know, if you are using greenhouse, or you can control the coming in of some of these pests, you can control the amount of water you are giving in, you can control so many, you can even control the soil, because you know the soil that you put in the greenhouse. You know, so because of these few things, you have limited tomato and the technology.
The large percentage of the tomatoes that Nigerians are consuming is coming from rural communities. For an improved production of tomatoes, the farmers in Birnin Yaro are therefore appealing to government to provide them with modern methods of farming and also stop kidnappers and other criminal elements hindering them from accessing their farms. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
We're still staying with Nigeria's living standard phenomenon. According to the Agricultural Commodities Association of Nigeria, policies and intervention schemes implemented by the federal government of the country have been a failure, as they have failed to give life to Nigeria's agricultural sector. Nigeria, which is homeland to several crops and livestock, has struggled to reap the full potential and economic contributions of the sector. Trust TV's Chamun Dabeng reports that the association is calling out to the federal government to give urgent attention to the agricultural sector. Her report.
The subsidy removal policy has been often described as a funds guzzler and a platform for corrupt practices, making its subsequent removal imperative to aid the growth of the Nigerian economy. However, the changes brought on by the removal of the subsidy policy has multiplied the hardships that Nigerians have been facing over time. The country in the last year has seen several hikes in the Consumer Price Index, which as of May 2023 sits at 22.41%, while food inflation is 24.82%. As the price of goods and services continue to increase, Nigerians are forced to make difficult adjustments to their lifestyle.
We are suffering. Nigeria is suffering. Like me now, I don't retire. I'm finding it very, very difficult to feed. Yes, I make an adjustment because anything when I'm buying now, I will share it. I will buy 1/5 of it, and with the higher price.
Yeah, my movement reduced. Now I'm doing from my house to my office to my children's school. Three movements from my house to my office to my children's school, which is crazy. You can't visit anyone. Even now I'm in the market, I came to buy. Prices of things are crazy.
Imagine somebody who is earning 35,000 naira. Is paying a transport of 1,000 naira, let's say every week. I was living in where I was paying, I think 70,000 naira. I've now moved to where I'm now paying 50,000 naira for a rent. So
several experts have predicted that the trend will continue upwards, with the Bank of America predicting that Nigeria's inflation rate may reach 30% in 2023. The World Bank also predicts that 7.1 million Nigerians may be pushed below the poverty line. While economist Aliyu Audu lauds Nigerians for being able to handle the subsidy removal, many, however, wonder what can be done to ease the struggles of the vast population.
Let's look at what the government has promised and is going to do. We know that the government is about less than 2 months old. So I'm not sure if they can do any magic immediately. Now, they have promised that they are going to increase the minimum wage in line with the subsidy removal. They have promised they are going to bring in palliatives in terms of buses, electric buses, mass transit buses, to help workers move from one point to another at a subsidized rate.
Nigerians and some experts are calling on the federal government to address the situation to avoid further consequences on the country. Chamun Dabeng, Trust TV News, Abuja.
In other news, the Nigerian Supreme Court has quashed the conviction of Senator Peter Nwabushi and is sentenced him to 7 years imprisonment for offences of fraud and money laundering. The Apex Court ordered his immediate release from the Ikoyi prisons in Lagos, where he is currently being held. In a judgment delivered on Friday, the Supreme Court also freed the two companies, Golden Touch Construction Project Limited and Swimming Electrical Limited, tried with him on a 2-count charge brought against them by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. In a split decision of 4-1, the Supreme Court set aside the judgment of the Court of Appeal in Lagos, which had reversed their discharge and acquittal by a federal high court in Lagos. In a lead judgment by Justice Emmanuel Agim, the Apex Court held that Nwabushi and the two companies were unjustly and maliciously prosecuted by the EFCC for committing no offences known to law. It faulted the EFCC for subjecting them to needless criminal trial in relation to civic transaction. Now, EFCC had accused Nwabushi and his companies of illegally acquiring a property named Guinea House on Marine Road in Apapa, Lagos, for 805 million naira, a property that is said to belong to the Delta State government. The anti-graft agency had claimed that part of the money paid for the property was transferred by Swimming Electrical Limited on behalf of Senator Nwabushi and Golden Touch Construction Project Limited, adding that the funds were believed to be proceeds of their illicit activities. The police authorities in Ondo State have confirmed the arrest of a 27-year-old man named Oke Lawyer for allegedly killing a secondary school student in Arogbo, Ese-Odo local government area of Ondo State. It was gathered that the deceased, named Timibra Meretigang, was attacked by the suspect at the premises of Ijo National High School, Arogbo, where the students were writing their junior secondary school certificate examination. The suspect was said to have run into the school premises and started pursuing the students, laying his hands on the victim, strangling him to death. The principal of the school quickly reported the incident to the police in the community. The public relations officer of Ondo State Police Command, Fumilayo Odunlami Omisonya, confirmed the incident to journalists on Friday. She revealed that the suspect accused the students of calling him a madman. A police report, according to the police PRO, noted that the suspect had been arrested, adding that the investigation into the incident has since commenced. Quite an unfortunate development. Now, to Delta State now, where the State Police Command has paraded several suspects for various crimes, including a pastor for alleged human trafficking. Jonathan Awanyai reports that the state's Commissioner of Police, Wale Abba, stated this while briefing newsmen at the command's headquarters in Asaba. The report.
The suspects were paraded for various crimes, including armed robbery, fraud, murder, and possession of illegal firearms. The pastor, allegedly operating in Efrun axis of the state, was accused of trafficking two members of his church.
The DPO Ekpan police station received a complaint that two young ladies, named withheld, have not been seen since they went to a church named Fire Gospel Mission located at number 1 Tare Alego Street, Efrun, in Owe local government for a church program. The DPO swung into action and arrested the suspect, who claimed to be a pastor named Marvelous Ebangui M, age 42 years. Investigation so far revealed that the suspect specializes in trafficking young girls to other African countries. Suspects stated that the victims are presently in Senegal. Investigation to retrieve those children back is equally ongoing.
No, the truth is that, church, they do testimonies and all that. That's what those guys now came to beg me, so I should help them to help this woman to help them. So I never knew it was into prostitution. But when they get there, they called that was prostitution, and we asked them to return back. So they are on their way now.
Since when?
2 weeks plus.
And they are still on their way?
Yeah.
I say I do for 1 month.
But why I did it, they duped me 2.8 million. So along the line yesterday, I said, let me operate in Asibadu to sit at home and furniture. And I now get to one girl. After everything, she said she had 24,000. I collected the money. Along the line, I turned and come back and give her the money back.
Now they go with the sleep from my husband compound with the Igbo. Inside the compound, they go inside the compound because the place deal with bush inside the compound. But my store na Igbo.
Mercedes-Benz SUV stolen from a car stand in Abuja was recovered in Delta State. The suspects are still at large. The commissioner warned officers to beware of crimes, as those found wanting will face the wrath of the law.
Area of responsibility, while admonishing them on the need to remain committed to their primary duties, which include protections of lives and properties, maintenance of law and order, etc., and to always lecture their men to be civil when dealing with members of the public, because command under my watch will deal decisively with any erring officers.
The CP assured Deltans of a safe environment to go about their lawful business. Jonathan Anwaye, Trust TV News, Asaba.
Now, social media users are impressed with the emergence of Threads, a new platform that gives users opportunity to share ideas and information in real time. Noel Samson speaks to some Abuja residents on the launch of the new app.
Threads is designed as a platform for real-time conversations and sharing of ideas. Threads aims to provide users with a similar experience to Twitter, reaching 55 million users already just after its launch on Thursday. Social media users in Abuja have different notions concerning the new app. While some do not know about the existence of a new app, others are skeptical about joining the app, even though they see it as a competition to Twitter.
I think Mark is here to compete. Mark is here to compete, and he made a very smart move going for ex-Twitter's employees. That was a very smart move. I never expected it. I heard that we are going to have a fight, Elon and Mark Zuckerberg. We are thinking it was a physical fight. I didn't know that Mark had another thing in mind. Surprisingly, it garnered about 1 million users, yes, then about 3.8 million tweets on Twitter concerning Thread. So if Thread is trending on Twitter, man, I think he's very competitive.
I don't think I'm going to be jumping on it so soon. So I need to observe and see. And you know what we call this speculation that is going on with the symbol like 666. So you know those people. Let me put them. Those people. They normally hide their agendas in one of all those things we see on. Normal our everyday life. So
yeah, it's better we have options when it comes to social media. You don't allow just a single person to monopolize the whole thing, so that when a particular one is not doing better, you have the option of going for the other one. Yes, it's a good one. It's a good one.
I came across it yesterday. I was reading over it on the internet. Then I saw something like something that has to do with Mark Zuckerberg or something like that, understand? Then the likes of, was it a Twitter owner, understand, trying to accuse him of having stolen their trademark or something like that. I have not really gotten the real gist.
Social media facilitates quick information dissemination. More than 4.7 billion people use social media in the world. Well, Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Well, before to check us out, we're also on Threads, Trust TV _news. You're still watching the news update on Trust TV. Still to come. We take a look at why a 25-year-old girl was locked up in her home for 5 years. Details of this and many more coming up ahead. Welcome back to the news update on Trust TV. Here's a quick recap of our top stories at this hour. Traders say insecurity responsible for tomatoes price hike. Supreme Court frees Senator Nwabushi, quashes his 7 years jail sentence. Now, the Nigerian Senate has resolved to probe the concession of the Aminu Kano International Airport and the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja, saying the probe is necessary because the process of concessioning the airports was not done transparently. The Senate's resolve to probe the concession of the airports followed a motion by Senator Sumaila Kawu, who says from the combined examination of the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria Act and the ICRC Procedures Manual, it has become evident that the concessioning was based on a faulty foundation. According to Senator Kawu, FEC was misguided as the Federal Executive Council in its decision, and that action cannot amount to anything but a nullification. The lawmaker stated that he is alarmed that Nigeria is receiving a concession fee upfront of 1.5 million naira, while the total amount of money that the Kano Airport is accruing to the government is $97.4 million.
Disturbs that this concession is clearly dubious and the rise question on the process and what the actors stand to gain. Recall that the unions in the aviation industry embark on strike to question the integrity of the concessioning exercise, stressing that the concessioning of the airport away from PAN will necessarily cause or halt the employment of the staff.
That some people can just come up and a Federal Executive Council fully constituted and approve this mindless contract. Concession. What is concession? Water Resources, Ministry of Aviation, the two people mislead the Executive Council. So I want to go straight to the point. They have to invite them to come and explain, because in aviation, the fraudulent act is too much.
Concessioning is what is in vogue all over the world as we speak, because government is not a good manager of businesses. I can remember even Heathrow Airport has been concessioned even to a Nigerian, and the airport is doing very well, but in a very transparent and open manner. Well, let's not put the cart before the horse. We allowed relevant committees, as proposed, as adopted here, to investigate, to find out the truth about what is being alleged.
Now the news: the father and stepmother of the 25-year-old woman locked up for 5 years have been released on bail for an outcry over the incident. Ummi Garba was rescued by the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps following a formal complaint by a human rights activist. Ali Rabiu sent in this report as presented from our studio.
This is the room where the woman, Ummi Garba, lives with her father and stepmother in the Takro area of Dutse, the Jigawa state capital. Her food was usually served on the bare floor of this room, where she was locked up for a long period until her rescue. Her 67-year-old father, Garba Musa, said the reason why they locked her up to stop her going outside was because she suffered from a mental problem. According to the father, people with low moral upbringing around the area were taking advantage of her mental problem to invite her to their rooms for sexual pleasure. Public Relations Officer of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, Adamu Shehu, said men of the command arrested the father in May following a complaint lodged at the NSCDC State Command Headquarters by a human rights activist that he had locked up a 25-year-old lady in a room within the house for several years without being allowed to come out.
Currently, with the help of organization here, the civil society group and some good Samaritan at the quarters taking care of the young girl. She has been taken to hospital. As far as I'm concerned, or I know, I've been briefed about twice now. Because since those days, I may recall, I said the last time she was taken to the hospital was in 2018, almost 5 years ago, and nothing was done. Though the father also, to be fair to him, claimed that when they go to Kazauri, that's the psychiatric hospital in Kazauri, the same medication they are offering, so they resorted to buying the medication over the counter.
Director of Public Prosecution in the state, Hussein Abdullahi, said the parents were released on bail. Part of the bail condition requires that the father takes his daughter to Kazuri Mental Hospital and the NSCDC female officer be paying unscheduled visits to the house to see her condition.
She called me that there's a woman who was locked up by her father for, she said, as she said, for about 5 years or so. And she said that she reported the matter to the civil defense office. She wanted to hear from me what is my advice. So since you have taken the case to the civil defense force, let's see what they would, what the investigation will be.
The mother of the 25-year-old Ummi, separated from the father, has 6 children with Garba Musa. Ummi has 5 siblings from the same mother, who is now married to another man living in Oguma town in Kano State.
Very sad and disturbing development there. On the foreign scene, Kenyan police fired dozens of tear gas canisters into a crowd of thousands of opposition protesters on Friday as they attempted to march into the main business district of the capital to protest over tax hikes. Opposition leader Raila Odinga called the protests to oppose tax increment that have been imposed at a time when many are already struggling with high prices of basic commodities such as maize flour. Well, that's it. You're up to date with the latest news stories at this hour. Thank you most kindly for joining us. Feel free to follow us across our social media platform for more content. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. Thank you for watching.